What's going on, people? Hello, hey, hi, it's me, Mr. 300 OG. And today I want to give you guys my 5 tips on how to handle a fall / how to take a hit. I've come to realize that falling is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but as a motorcycle rider, it's the possibility, it's the risk you take every time you get on a bike. And me healing up from my current accident and thinking about all the times that I have fallen, which is a total of 5, I want to make this video to kind of just help people who are new to riding or who have been riding but have never fallen, or maybe fallen a couple times. You know, you're just embarrassed to talk about it or just never want it to happen. I want you guys to realize that it's a part of riding, it's a part of our world, it's a risk we take, and I hope these 5 steps could help you be a little bit more comfortable with the fact that you might fall. And if you do fall, how to handle that. So without further ado, here are my 5 tips on how to handle a fall / how to take a hit. So my first tip is to realize and accept that shit happens. You have to realize that being on a motorcycle, you're exposing your whole body to the outside world, to the elements. Whereas in a car, you're tucked inside a frame of glass and metal and all this weight. Once you realize that shit happens, I think it allows you to alleviate the fear of being on a motorcycle and being out in the open and being exposed. And once you alleviate that fear, it brings in confidence. And then that confidence allows you to sit on your bike so much more strongly and potently, and to actually own your space and not be afraid of cars that might cut you off or swerve in front of you, or the wind blowing or trucks passing you by. It allows you to just own the fact that you are on a motorcycle, 2 wheels, out in the open. Besides getting confident and realizing that shit happens, I have found that it allows me to enjoy the ride so much more. Like when I'm on my bike, I'm not minding cars that are going flying by and doing what they're doing. As long as they're not bothering me, they gotta do what they gotta do. You have to accept and you have to realize and you have to be okay with the fact that shit does and can happen. My second tip, and this is something that we're actually told all the time, is to wear your gear or add gap. I'm not even gonna front and hold y'all and pretend like I wear my gear all the time. I actually don't have a full riding setup. I just have helmet, gloves, bionic jacket, and boots. So I actually need to reinvest and get more gear. Especially after my accident, I realized how important gear is. By wearing gear, there's no guarantee that it's going to save your life, but the point of gear is to help save your life and to help save your bones and to help save your skin. From my experience, in my second accident, I got clipped and I actually flew off my bike and I landed on my shoulder collarbone area, and I was wearing my Alpine Stars bionic jacket. And luckily, I think if I wasn't wearing that, I would have probably broken my collarbone, but all I left with is my clavicle raised up a bit, and it's honestly, it's out of position now. You guys can't see it, but it's raised now as opposed to this one, how it's just sunken and in place. My recent accident, I had on a helmet and I had on my bionic jacket. Even with having my helmet and my bionic jacket, I still fractured my jaw. Honestly, I wasn't even wanting to wear my bionic jacket that day because I was going to the beach, it was hot. I'm thinking I don't really need this, but I told myself, you know what, just put it on. And I realized with gear, a lot of the times, especially when it's hot, we don't want to put it on. And you just want to be like, okay, we'll make it to where we're going safely. No, who needs to put on a whole suit? Who needs to do all of that, blah, blah, blah. But the thing about motorcycle riding is that you really don't know when things could happen. You don't know what could happen. And I feel like it would suck to be like, oh man, I should have put on my gear. I should have did this, I should have did that. Wearing your gear would save you that stress. So tip number 2, wear your gear. Tip number 3 is to practice evasive maneuvers. I'm gonna start this off and tell you guys that I did not take the MSF course, which I know they teach you those type of things. So everything that I learned that I'm about to tell you, I had to learn on my own through riding on the street and through experience. So the things that I learned are tail slides, hard braking and how to control the braking, how to like keep your weight centered, not to panic, and to always look ahead. Those are things that I actually use on a daily basis, and that has more times than once saved me from collision. Like you guys see the way I ride very direct, I lane split, I'm more aggressive, but with me being that way, I had to learn these things in order for me to ride as effectively. Tail slides are good because if you're in a situation where you need to hard brake and you don't have ABS and it's a split-second thing, you could hit your rear brake and kind of just turn your body and bring your bike sideways, your bike and your body sideways, and stop. I don't know if this is recommended by any MSF officials, and they might tell you, no, this guy's crazy. But then again, just remember, guys, I'm telling you what I have used. If you guys can, go in an empty parking lot, go into something that is empty and practice just the feeling of stepping on that rear brake and throwing your body to the side and letting your bike drift a bit. And just controlling that. It's gonna feel really weird at first, but once you get it down pat, you're gonna realize it's not as scary and it's actually kind of fun to do. Hard and controlled braking. Sometimes you can't do a nice, calm, easy brake. Sometimes somebody pops into your lane, or somebody's running across the street, or a car cuts you off and you have to brake hard. I've learned that by keeping your body centered and keeping your weight centered and just applying your brakes, you're allowing your body to just stay centered and the bike to do what it does. By keeping your body centered, which is the thing that could throw you off of the bike, you're allowing the bike to just continue doing what it's doing and you to stay grounded on the bike. Another thing I would say is to not panic. By panicking, you do more than you need to do. By panicking, you're not allowing your body's natural instincts and your knowledge and your experience to kick in and just handle things. Like for example, if I'm riding in the rain and my back tire starts to squiggle a little bit, by the time my body is done, like, oh shit, something's about to happen, it's over with. I realized if I tried to react in that quick instance and grab a brake or step on a rear brake, that I could be making an issue more than what it is. Like sometimes it's such a quick incident that's happened that you don't need to overreact by panicking. I feel like panicking can mess you up and put you in a worse situation that you don't need to be. By keeping yourself controlled and in the situation and not panicking, I think you could alleviate and lessen how many more accidents you could get in. I feel like this one might be kind of like a given, but if you're on a motorcycle, you should always be looking ahead. You should always be focused on where you're going. You don't know, someone could just be running across the street, not paying attention, taking their time. A car could be coming across. So much going on that I'm forced to not just only look where I'm going, but look where I'm intending to go. That way it allows you to be focused on what you're doing, but at the same time, prevent any incident that could happen by other people not doing what they're supposed to do. Like I said, I did not take an MSF course, so I could be missing out on a lot more, but those are things that I have learned through my own experience of riding and just being out on the street and riding how I ride. If you guys have any more evasive maneuvers that you know about that I did not talk about, or if you want to correct anything I said, feel free to leave it down in the comments. But that was tip number 3. Practice and utilize evasive maneuvers. Tip number 4, and I think this is a big one. Learn how to take a hit and how to roll out of a hit. I realize I've learned this since young. I've always been somebody that likes to play active in action sports, so whether it's football, wrestling, riding a bike, I've fallen a lot and I have the scars all over my body to prove it. But from falling, I've learned that I realized how to allow my body to embrace the fall and also roll out of the fall. For example, if you're playing football and somebody cracks you from the side, the thing to not do is allow yourself to go rigid. It's to allow yourself to accept the energy, see where it's sending you, and then roll out of that. I've also done BMX, and that's where I also realized that learning how to fall is very, 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 very important. With BMX, and I'm crazy because I used to ride with no helmet, but when you're doing BMX, you're trying to do all these different grinds and all these different slides, flying off ramps, and it's so easy to fall. And I've learned that I how to just kind of like handle a fall, how to anticipate where I'm going, where I'm gonna land, and if I could roll out of it, like if there's anything in my way, how to position my body and just accept the fall and the path of where I'm going. For a couple examples on motorcycles now, from my first accident, I was coming out of a parking spot, and it was a two-lane street, and I couldn't see one street that was clear, so I'm pulling up, and then this SUV comes out of nowhere, and he T-bones me. So the car hit my left leg, I pulled my right leg out, the bike fell flat, and I landed on top of the bike. And I realized if I had not done that, if I didn't know how to take a fall, that one would have really messed me up, because I would have landed on my leg, the bike would have landed on that, and then my weight on top of that, and that would have just been really sucky. As I told you, my second accident, I got clipped from the side and I flew over. And the thing that helped me was that I saw where I was gonna land. Like I saw how fast I was moving, how high I was. And so like I landed on my shoulder and I rolled and I bounced up on my feet. And that I solely contribute to riding BMX. Cause like there's a lot of times where I fall like that. Like I think I'm gonna go into a grind or hit a trick or something like that, and the bike wheel snags and I fly forward. So from that accident, I realized like I landed squarely and I rolled up on my feet, and I was grateful for that because I was in the street amongst cars. This third accident, which was the one that's like the most jarring for me, is the fact that the car stopped right in my lane. And this, I've never dealt with anything like this before, so this one was scary for me. Like in the instances that I had, I tried to see if I could swerve to the side, if I could do a hard brake. None of those seemed like a decent solution for me. So the only thing that I could have done was to brace for impact. For me, bracing for impact, I realized that's the only thing I could have done that made the most sense. Like I had to kind of like toughen myself up because I'm going about 30 miles per hour into the side of a 3,000-pound vehicle. I feel like I would have gotten flattened from the weight. But for me, making myself as tense and as dense and as hard and as solid as possible, I was able to come out of that accident with just a shattered leg and then like a busted jaw. I really do think if I allowed myself to just be loose and no type of solidness in my body, that it would have been so much more worse and I probably would have died. That's what I would say for tip number 4. Learn how to take a hit, learn how to roll out of a hit, and just allow your body to do what it does. Tip number 5, which is just as important as tip number 1, and that is realize that shit happens. Tip number 1 was to realize that shit happens. Tip number 5 is to realize that shit happens. I want to give this one kind of like a past tense, because once you get up off the bike, once you fall, you have to pick yourself up. You're the one that fell off the bike. Nobody else fell off the bike, it's you. And I realized that a lot of people, like, they don't like the feeling of making a mistake. They don't like the feeling of falling. You think that once you get on the bike, that if you fall, you're a loser or you don't know what you're doing. Like, no. It happens. It's a possibility. My biggest thing, and something that I want to express to you guys, is to not feel so down on yourself. Like if you can get up and you're not hurt where it's like your legs are damaged, get up with your pride, get up with your dignity, get up and realize that, okay, a mistake has happened. Something went wrong. You're alive. And that right there is the biggest thing. Your bike can be fixed, but don't feel like, oh man, I'm never gonna ride again. I'm so embarrassed. I can't do this again. People are looking at me. People are gonna look. Like you fell off a motorcycle. It's a crash. You rubberneck. People rubberneck. Is gonna happen. Don't allow that to get so deep in your soul and in your mindset and in your psyche that you never want to ride again. Don't feel like making a mistake is something so wrong that it should stop you from riding again. Realize that shit happens. And it's a part of the process, a part of the journey, it's a part of the ride. So there you have it, guys. These are my 5 personal tips for how to handle a fall / how to handle and take a hit. Once again, I'm not gonna say this is a universal thing. This is what every motorcycle rider should know, but this is all based off of my experience. You guys feel free to leave a comment, a critique, anything that you may think could help everybody learn. If you think I've said something that's wrong or could be improved, leave your comment, leave your thoughts, and let's talk about it. Because like this whole video, this whole thought process, the whole concept of this video was to allow people to be more comfortable with the things that could happen, which is falling, and allow you to be able to get yourself back up if it happens. You know, allow yourself to prevent it happening, and just, you know, get back on the bike once it's all over and taken care of. So that's it for me, guys. Mr. 300 OG, working up, you know, healing up, getting better. Be back soon. Got a bunch of uploads that I'm working on for you guys. Gonna be back on my bike soon. But yeah, you know, once again, can't leave you guys alone. So let me know how you feel. Let me know if you have any thoughts, and y'all stay beautiful. Stay up out there. Peace out.